So in the last class, what we did was we did a very simple thing. Okay, we used the command driver.find element and we gave the criteria by which we want to find the element, and we after find the element we sent some words and all, or we typed into it using the send keys function. When you write driver.find element, this thing, okay, this thing, it evaluates to WebDriver interface. It returns you object of WebDriver web element interface. Sorry. Okay, and web element interface has got various functions which you can perform with any web element, like clear, click, right, get text, get tag name. So there are various functions associated with this web element interface. Web element means basically it represents the a generic object on the page, or object like text field, link, or any object. Okay, so when you write driver.find element and you give any criteria, you find the element and you get the web element reference. Okay, on that web element reference you can fire any function, right? So generally what we do, we combine these two lines and we write it in one go. The execution starts on the left side and first driver.find element is executed and then the send keys function is executed. Alright, fine. Now what happens if there is no ID? ID is not mandatory. Okay, it can be or cannot be present with the object. Not all the objects have got ID. For example, if you go to this website, say right, you go to this website and I look at this object, say sign in. I look at the sign in link. This is a link. It's got no ID, nothing. Okay, so how will you identify this? Okay, well, to identify this you can use XPath. Right, now what is the XPath? XPath is like address of an element. For example, you live in a house. Fine, the house will have a house number. It will have a certain address, that house number 25, this street and this city. Okay, that house can be identified with that address. Fine, so XPath is like that address only. You got my point? Fine, it uniquely identifies the object. Okay, now how is XPath formed? How can you form the XPath? Well, it's quite simple. Fine, let me open a notepad. Okay, so if you look at the page source over here, fine, then just a minute. Right, then I have this link. This link is inside this span. Okay, this span is inside this span. Right, this span is inside this division. This division is inside this division, and then the body tag, and then the HTML tag. This is how the structure goes. Like, if you start from the base of the document, that is the HTML tag. Right, and this is how XPath is also formed. Okay, this is how XPath is also formed. Fine, so the XPath will be found something like this. You'll start from the base of the document, that is HTML, and then go inside the body tag. HTML/body means that from HTML tag go inside the body tag, because I am interested in body tag. The link is present in the body tag. Inside the body tag there are many tags, and I want to go inside this div tag. Okay, so I'll write over here /div. So go inside this div tag. Inside this div tag there are, this is the first div tag, this is the second div tag, this is the third div tag. I want to go inside the third div tag because my link is present inside the third div tag, right? So I'll write over here div3 like this. That means go inside the third div tag, right? Then inside the third div tag there are two spans. I want to go inside the second span. Fine, because the link is there in the second span, so you'll have to write over here /span2. Inside this second span there is another span tag, and then there is this link. Okay, rather than inside this another span tag, which you will write like this /span, right? There are two links. One link is this, the other link is this. So you have to go to the first link. So you write A. Did you understand my point? This is the XPath. Did you understand my point? Right? So I started traversing from the base of the document, and I reached the element in which I am interested. Okay, so this type of XPath is also known as complete or absolute XPath. Okay, this starts from the base of the document. It's known as complete or the absolute XPath. It is quite accurate. Right? It is quite accurate as well. Okay. Now the thing is, this kind of XPath should not be used, because if anything changes in between, then it will go for a toss. You will have to sit down and change your code, and rather your most of the XPaths will change in that case, and you will have to get the XPath of the complete application changed. I hope you got my point, right? So you should refrain from using this kind of XPath. Another type of XPath is known as partial XPath. You should use that one. Okay, I will tell you how to distinguish between them, like how to, you don't have to calculate the XPath manually every time. There is a tool for that. First I'll tell you the tool, and then I'll tell you about partial XPaths as well. Okay, so there is a tool with which you can calculate the XPath as well. That tool is known as FirePath. I already have it installed. Okay, FirePath comes as a add-on on the top of Firebug. Okay, you should have Firebug installed, and FirePath is the add-on on the top of Firebug. Okay, just hold on, I'll tell you how to install this. Make sure that you have got Firebug installed on your machine. Okay, just go to Google and type FirePath download. Okay, you will get this first link, FirePath add-ons for Firefox. You click on that and select add to Firefox. Fine, and it will be added to Firefox as an add-on. Okay, it will be added to Firefox as an add-on, and after that your Firefox will start, and when you open Firebug now, you will get an option Hold on. Just hold on. I'm not able to. Anyways, so this is fire path. Okay. If I move my mouse over any element, for example, this element will give the XPath. In Firepath, select generate absolute XPath over here. Okay, and then move the mouse over any element. Okay, you will get the absolute XPath of that element. This can be used to identify the object. Okay, but as I told you, this is not good. If something changes in between, then everything will go for a toss. So what you do, you refrain yourself from using absolute XPath. You use a partial XPath. Okay, for example, I move my mouse over this text field. So this is the partial XPath. Okay, now hold on. If I write /* that means any element on the page. Okay, this is a partial XPath which represents any element, a text box, a text field, a button, a web checkbox, a radio button, anything on the page. This is represented by this partial XPath. If I write like this, /input, then this means that all the elements on the page which have the input tag name. Okay, if I write like this, /input @ID equals to this ID, then this will represent this text field. That is, there is an input tag. This is the this is the div tag. Sorry, that is, there is a div tag with this ID. Okay, that will represent this text field. This is the XPath which is given by Firepath. That means any tag with this ID. This is also okay. Are you getting my point? Fine. If you look at the sign in link, right, then sign in link has got no ID. Okay, so what it does, it goes one tag up and finds that span tag has the ID. So the XPath is made like this. That is, any element on the page with the ID sign in info. This part is actually this span, and under that the first link, which is this link, this part, right? A span with this ID, under that there is a link. So this is by partial XPath. Okay, or if you look at this, say, shopping tag over here, this shopping tag is a U. It's under the tag U, right? So if you have to get the partial XPath for this, it is over here. This partial XPath actually starts from this div, because this div has got an ID associated with it. Fine. So this is the div with the ID new design. Under that there is another division. Under that, go inside the fourth link. Okay, under this division, go inside the fourth link. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth link. Under the fourth link there is a div tag. This is the div tag. And under that there is a U tag, which is this U tag, and you get the XPath for sure. Did you understand how partial XPath is made? Hello? Right? Yes. Now the thing is, The question being asked is the XPath same for any browser? Yes, because page source remains the same for all the browsers. This is what you get from the server. Each and every browser displays with this page source. So if you get the XPath in Firefox, right? You can use the XPath in Chrome as well as IE as well as Safari, any browser. Because there are very few websites whose page source they completely differ in different browsers, but I've hardly seen any website. Okay, the page source is same for all the browsers. Still, if you want to take the XPath in other, please keep yourself on mute. Right? Yeah. For example, I open Chrome. This is Chrome. Right. And if I want to find the XPath on this browser, okay, you right click on, say, this link over here, outlook.com. Okay, right click on this and select inspect element. Fine. So you will get this element over here. Okay, and then right click on the element, you will get the option copy XPath. XPath will be copied and you can paste the XPath over here. So this is the XPath. You need to convert the double quotes to single quotes. That's it. Okay, any element if you want to select, for example, I select this element, I want to get the XPath, right click, you'll get the option copy XPath. In IE, there is no such option as such, right? Okay, but if your application is working in Firefox or Chrome, you can get the XPath from there and you can make it work in IE or some other browser. So basically, XPaths are of two types: complete and absolute. Complete or absolute and partial XPath. We prefer using partial XPath. They are shorter, right? If the application changes tomorrow, the chances are less that this type of XPath will be will not work. Okay, and secondly, this complete XPath which I have given out here, okay, this is more accurate because it starts from the base of the document and goes till the element. Obviously, it is more accurate. Okay, but as I told you, this has problems. Fine. So how can I write the code? Okay, in day 5, say I make a new class known as and I write the standard WebDriver code in it. Okay, hold on. Let me add the Selenium jar file. Right, and you write on the next line driver dot find element. Okay, you go to the website. The website was in.reddit.com, right, which we were working on here. And after going there, you need to click on the element with say this XPath, say the XPath for the sign-in link. Fine. So this is the XPath for the sign-in link. That is, you can write driver.find element by the, you will get XPath option. Put the XPath. Okay. Dot send keys. So sorry. Dot click. You need to click on this element, right? You have the click function. Okay, driver.find element by this XPath and click on it. Fine. It's up to you whether you want to keep the star over here or if you want to give the tag name. The tag name is span. Span is having the ID sign in info. Right. I prefer giving the tag name. It actually makes it more accurate. Okay. So you click on it. So if you run this code, this will work. The name and password. Okay. Right. Now you can also get the XPath for this fields and work with it. Okay. So this is how basically use XPath. Formation of the XPath is important. Understanding of XPath is important. Writing in the code is the standard line. Driver.find element, you give the XPath of the element and give whatever you want to do with the element over here. Okay. For example, after clicking on sign in link, I have to enter the username. This is the XPath for the username field. Right. So all you need to do is you need to write driver.find element by the XPath of the username field dot send keys some username. Okay, right. This is the username field. It's the input tag. Right. So you put over here that this is the input tag and ID is this, and you type in over here. So this is how you can use XPath. All right. Fine. Any questions from anybody? Any questions? Okay. The question being asked is, are the XPaths reliable? Yes, they are reliable. It is not that they'll change overnight. If something changes in the application, okay, only then the XPath will change. Otherwise, it doesn't change like that. You have to change something in the application, right, wherein the XPath will change. Every element on the page has an XPath. Every element. For example, if you go to okay, fine. The question being asked is, how do I find XPaths of dynamic elements? For example, the website like timesofindia.com. Okay. Now, as I told you, this is a news channel website in India. Okay. It will change every day. Every day, the heading of this website, the main news will change every 6 hours or something. But the address of this element remains same. The XPath will remain same, even though the value on the page will change. Okay, even though the text over here will change. Fine. But this XPath will remain the same. I hope you got my point. Or if you look at the link over here, this link changes every day. The XPath will remain the same because XPath will say that fine, this is the span, under that there is the link. You can change this text, whatever is there in this span, you can change it. Fine. XPath travels through the tag names, the tag names will remain the same. You got my point? Right. Okay. So this is why XPaths are quite successful. Okay. In dynamic HTML also this is the case, Gopinath. Okay, there is nothing like dynamic HTML in which the complete thing changes. It's not like no website is like that. Okay. Now, uh, out here, Rishi is asking question: is XPath the most popular way? Yes, probably yes. CSS is also there, CSS selector, but most of the people use XPath. Okay, they are very accurate. Things is they are quite accurate. They are based on the tag names and they never fail. If it works one time, it will work 100 times if the application is not changed. Okay. Any other question? Is CSS selector faster than XPath? Yes, in IE CSS selector is faster, but in Chrome or Mozilla you will not even get to know the difference. Okay. Alright. So Gopinath, that is not XPath will remain same in that if based on the country selection zip code values will change, XPath will remain same. If you have two drop downs, one is country drop down, other is city drop down. You select the country, say I select the country as United States, then in the next drop down I'll get the cities in United States. If I select the country as India, I'll get the cities in India. It doesn't matter, both the drop downs will have same XPath. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter in any case because both the elements in this case will have the same XPath. Right. So now, hold on, somebody is pinging you. When do we use CSS selector? It's up to you. Okay, you use XPath or there is no hardcore definition. That's fine. If the link looks like this, you have to use CSS selector. If the link looks like that, you have to use XPath. There is nothing like which is a written rule over there that under these scenarios you have to use ID. Under these scenarios you have to use XPath. Under this scenario you have to use CSS selector. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule like that. Okay, anybody with any other question? Right. So this was about XPath. Okay, fine. Now the thing is, okay, another question being asked is, what if there are no attributes with the element? How will you get the partial XPath? Okay, for example, you go to this website, hdfc.com. Hold on. You see this link over here, call us. This link over here, I'm moving mouse over it, call us. If you look at this link, then you will always get a full XPath for this link. Because no object in between, no tag in between has got an ID or something. So you are forced to use the complete XPath over here. Okay, if nothing in between has an ID or something, okay, you'll be forced to use the complete XPath. Alright, fine. So this is about XPath. Fine. Now at times, hold on, another question is being asked. Yes, if element is not available on the page, it is not even present, and if you're trying to pull it out, then obviously it will throw an error. Suppose I write the code to extract the text over here. Tomorrow this text is not present. It will not be able to extract it. The element with that particular XPath is not present. So it will obviously throw an error. Okay, if the XPath is not at all present on the page, then obviously you are going to get the error. So that's the thing. If you are finding an XPath and if the same XPath is not present in the page in future, that means something is wrong in the application. Okay, the test failed because the element is not present on the page. So it should not be like that, that today you get the element on the page and tomorrow you don't get it. Alright. Exception. It throws an exception. Element not found. For example, over here in this code, if I give an XPath which is not present, okay, and if I run the code, then I get an XPath like this. No, sorry, exception like this. No such element exception. Unable to locate the element. And you know what? Whenever you get an exception, don't worry. Read it carefully. It will tell you the line number as well on which the error is coming. Selenium dot underscore XPath Java line number 16. If you click on this, it will highlight the 16th line as well. Okay, so when you get exception, just read it carefully. You'll get the code line as well on which the code is failing. Okay, right? So you have to make sure that the XPath is valid and evaluating to a proper element. Otherwise, it will not work. Fine. Okay. So actually, I'll stop here. Okay, I have an appointment today with someone. I have to be there. Okay, so I took a half an hour class. Yes, Rishi, it will be same. The question being asked is, if I am logged in into a website, okay, over here the text is displayed, welcome Ashish. Now if tomorrow you log in, say welcome Rishi or welcome Vijay, whatever it is, you get the welcome text. Look, as far as the position remains the same, the XPath will not change. It will not change. It will remain the same. You can handle the element. Right. For example, if you go over here, hold on. You type over here world time or time in say Pacific time zone US. Right. You go to the first link. Hold on. You see this. This number is changing every second. Okay. But if you look at the XPath, this XPath will remain same. The internal contents of the XPath, they are changing every second. Right. This is changing every second, but the XPath will remain the same. So if every time you write the XPath dot get text, you'll get the latest time. Are you getting my point? Right. So until or unless the position of this element changes, for example, tomorrow the developers remove this box and place it somewhere over here, then there is a higher probability that the XPath will change, because XPath is an address. It doesn't matter who resides in the house number will always remain the same. But if you change the house, then obviously the house number will change. Okay, right? So I have to leave, guys, because I have an appointment. I'm sorry. Like, I actually never wanted to take a class today, but I took it. Like, I had an appointment. So if you want to join the course, I think 2-3 seats are still left. If you want to join the course, you can go to the site selenium.com, click on contact trainer, and just fill out the form and send me the message that you want. Okay. People who registered on the weekend, I hope everybody got the username and password.